This presentation is for educational purposes and is not meant to replace the advice of your medical professional. It is not to be construed as diagnosis, prescription, or treatment of disease. God is responsible for the results of obedience of his lifestyle plan. The receiver or receivers and users of this information must assume all risk personally for the use or misuse of these information. Therefore, this disclaimer serves as notice to the receiver that he or she is free to seek medical attention, advice, treatment, and diagnosis from a licensed medical personnel. Pastor Kokou, he is one of us. He's a Seventh-day Adventist pastor. He hails from Togo, but he is living in America, in New York. Pastor Kokou is a gospel medical missionary and literature evangelist and trainer. He is also a herbalist. He has done many courses before, many classes. He has trained many people. And he doesn't just do the gospel medical missionary. He also do the Bible studies to go with it as well. So he wants us to be well physically and spiritually also. So Pastor Kokou, he's a child of God. He eats, breathe, and do everything health. This is one of his passion. And so his course also is a certified course. And if you doesn't meet the criteria, you would not be certified. So I present to you now Pastor Kokou, who is going to lecture us today, and the topic is herbology. Pastor Kokou, it's over to you now.
Right. We thank God for this time and this opportunity we have to spend some time, a very short time. And if we allow, the Lord might open our mind to a lot of stuff. Maybe a new journey for the rest of our life. Today we are going to talk about herbology, but not just about herb, but much more the mind that we should have behind herbology. What really herbology is about. It's about knowing herb and using herbs. Not only that. I would like us to look at herbology from God's perspective, if I can say so. What is God's intention? What is his purpose and vision in creating the herbs? And then how the design is in such a way that it's some kind of complementary function, some kind of synergy between the way we should live and all that God has created around us. We are not going to look at this thing from a human perspective or just look at the herb. I will suggest, not to say strongly recommend, that we look at everything about herb from today according to God's view, God's perception, and God's purpose. When you have any herb in your hand, you should have the sense even a commemoration of creation. You should remember the day God spoke this herb into existence. This is very important. Otherwise, we are going to miss the real use of herbs. If you see the herb, use the herb, you don't think about creation, you miss the point. You will be just any human being out there using herb. Why it is so? God designed a herb for our food, for our medicine, for, if possible, to serve others. And beyond that, there is a great controversy, and there is, especially in this end time, a lot of control over life. And God foresaw all of this and made a provision. So the herb are God's provision for this end time, as a medicine, as food, as to serve us at every level. Now, the next thing I would like us to pay attention to is, for example, when you take Cascara Sagrada, it's a simple herb where it's a good laxative herb. If you take a right amount, it will get you to the bathroom to have a proper bowel movement. But I have a little question. Why, when that herb goes in your body, how? The herb knows exactly which organ to work on. Are you following me? When you drink Cascara Sagrada tea right now, it goes straight in your colon and it starts working on the nerve of your colon to work better. But if you take Senna will work differently. Senna will lose the muscle of your colon. It will not be working on the nerve of your colon like Cascara Sagrada. What I'm trying to describe here is there is infinite wisdom behind the design. God made a herb to have what I call a chemical affinity with our body. Our body is designed to function a certain way, and God created a herb to work in harmony with us. So when you look at the herb, you should see what God has created to function with you. These are important because it will lead you to give thanks to God, to give glory to God, even worship Him. But a sinner will use herb and just know how good the herb are, how good the herb can give them some relief or even heal in some conditions. But we, as God's children, we see the herb differently. We remember creation. We see herb as divine provision for food, for medicine, and for the service of man. So we are reconnecting to the whole scenario, the whole, I will say, the scene, the reality of creation. So I would like this evening, this if you are in England, in New York, it's afternoon. As we are talking about a herb, that your mind goes straight to creation, to the day these herbs are created. And may we get into the story of the herb as discovering the marvelous power of God revealed in creation. So we are not going just to be studying herb, we are studying and discovering the mystery of God, how He compounded the herb, how He designed the chemistry of the herb, how He does so much in such a way that is in one accord I call the herb called Cascara Sagrada. Okay, I have a different name for it. So it depends where you are. We will have a question and answer at the end, please. So don't worry. So we are not just going to study herb. We are going to have some kind of exploring the mystery of God in creating the herbs. So in a whole presentation, let your mind go to creation. Let your mind go in admiration and worship to God as we are exploring how God in his infinite wisdom designed the herb in such a way that have a chemical affinity with your body, with every single organ. We would like to see the whole connection. Oh, Lord, if we do it like that, we are going to see the herb differently from today. They will not just be herb. They will be the revelation of God's selfless love, the revelation of the mystery of creation. So, with that being said, let's explore the mystery of creation a little bit, just at the level of the herbs. All right? So let's read quickly. This is just an introduction to a class we are going to have next month, God willing. Okay, and this section number 3, just a little introduction to it. The purpose of the presentation is to see herb as original food and business. Also know the herb per body part, and then understand the different herbal preparations, and then herbal formulation and its principles. We are just going to introduce that. We will not cover all of this. Now let's read. It says, again and again it has been shown to me, it has shown that God is trying to lead us back step by step to his original design, that man should subsist upon the natural product of the earth. So what is the original design? Let's read Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. Genesis 1:29 reads, and God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed. Every what? Every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. So this is the original food, the herbs, not the McDonald's, not the fast food, not the thing we have fabricated today. The herb around you are the original food. Vegetables, grain. Vegetable, fruits, and grain should compose our diet. Not 1 ounce of flesh, meat should enter our stomach. The eating of flesh is unnatural. We are to return to God's original purpose in the creation of man. The original design, God created our body and create what should work in harmony with the body. And that's the reason why when you put anything that is not in harmony with our body, it becomes toxic. The body gets inflamed. And this is something very important we need to pay attention to, very much. Let's continue. Let's read Psalms 104, verse 14, read. He caused the grass to grow for the cattle and the herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth. So the herb for the service of man. So we can use herb to make lotion, we can use herb to make soap, we can use herb to make any kind of medicine. The same herb are for food. Such a God that has made such kind of provision. Let's read Isaiah 38, verse 21. For Isaiah has said, let them take a lump of fig and lay it for a plaster upon the boil, and he shall recover. Isaiah is the prophet of God. Why he did not just pray so that the king can get well? Why he recommend the fig, a kind of plaster to use so that the boil can go away? I would like to emphasize on this. And I suggest you pay attention and remember this, please. Remember, I talk about the herb. When we see herb, we should remember creation. The very power of God that created herb is the very power of God that will heal you. For example, this boil here, if you put a fig poultice on it, it will go away, recommended by the prophet Isaiah. It is the same power of God that had created the herb and put the healing properties in the herb, healing the man. It is by the same power. If Isaiah has just laid his hand and he healed the king, it would be by the same power of God. I want and would love to emphasize upon this one. One more time. The very same power of God that had created the fig tree and the figs, all of that, and put in that fig the healing properties. It is the same power that will heal the king if Isaiah the prophet has only laid his hand and pray on him and he heals. It's the same thing. So when you make herbal tea, you need to know not only just God create these things, not only God put healing property in it, but it is his power at work. That's why glory and worship should go back to God. And this will change the way we use her. We use her with thanksgiving and acts of worship. Now, there are different kinds of herb. Just a little introduction here. There are herbs that we call alterative herb. This herb alters the blood. In another word, it cleanses the blood, it tonifies the blood, it detoxes the blood, does a lot of stuff. We call them alterative herbs. Number two, the herb that we call anthelmintic herb. The anthelmintic herb are parasitic herb, the herb against parasite. We have the astringent herb. The astringent are the herb that tonify. And also we have the cathartic herb. It's the herb that loose up muscle. We have what we call diaphoric herb, the herb that help you to sweat easily, like yarrow. And then we have diuretic herb, like cattail. We have emmenagogue herb that is to regulate women's menstruation and hormones. We have the expectorant herb, the herb that pull out and expel things from the body. We have the demulcent herb, and then we have the nervine and antispasmodic herb. The nervine are the nerve for the herbs. We have also the stimulant, the herb that stimulates nerves and organs. And then we have the tonic herbs. Most of the time, they are referring to the adaptogenic herbs. Now, This is some of the example of alternative herb. You have plantain, red clover, poke root, burdock root, chaparral, Oregon grape, sassafras, sarsaparilla, echinacea, yellow dog, garlic. It depends on where you live. You can just find the scientific name of this herb and you can find it in your local name. It's not difficult at all. The herb for the male reproductive organ, for example, you have horny goat, sappermental, guinea hen weed, you have a lot. You have peony, stinging nettle, sea moss, maca root, sensitiva. Sensitiva is a very particular herb, extremely good. You have sarsaparilla root, donkwai, chaga, Siberian ginseng, damiana, and more, cayenne, ginger, and there's a specific herb called yohembe. That you do not overdose because it can be a problem. It will make your heart race so much. Just simple herb. Now, here is my suggestion in the exploration. In the exploration of the mystery of creation, I suggest that we learn herb in this simple way. Just 4 herbs per body part. So from the head to toe, we are going to look at just 4 herbs. Okay? Then look at our hair and the scalp. We have 4 herbs. Number 1, stinging nettle. Number 2, horsetail. Number 4, sage. Number 5, oregano oil. Number 2, brain and nervous system. So we have valerian root, we have hops, we have lavender, we have skullcap. Then the herb for the eye, we have eyebright, we have bearberry, and bilberry, and prodigiosa. Number 4, the herb for sinus. We have horseradish, garlic, prodigiosa, and cayenne. The herb for the thyroid. So we have lobelia, bugleweed, dandelion root, and sea moss. Sea moss provide iodine. The herb for the mouth, your teeth and tongue and gum, all of that. We have the myrrh gum. We have comfrey, the root much better. We have slippery elm. We have golden seal. Just 4 herbs. We have more, but we want you to simplify the way you learn herb per body part. Number 7, the lungs and respiratory system. So you have melon, prodigiosa, cayenne, horseradish, elderberry, and more. So we are at the level of the lung now, and that in the middle right here we have the heart. So we have hawthorn, lily of the valley, chickweed, and cayenne. The herb for the arteries and vein. We have cayenne, ginger, white willow, and then we also can put the herb like number 10, the herb for the blood. We have yellow dog, we have dandelion root, we have red clover, we have sarsaparilla root. The herb for the arteries, you can add many other herbs to it. Very good herb that can heal the internal wall. It depends on the damage, in the arteries. If you have too much cholesterol buildup in your arteries, then you will take a chaga because the herb for the vein and artery we're only put 3 there. You can add number 4 as a chaga. Chaga is able to clean up your arteries from the deposit of bad cholesterol, remove the atherosclerosis from your system. So from the blood, now we go for the lymphatic system, the largest fluid in your body. So we have the cleaver, the chaparral, red clover, and yellow dog. The herb for the stomach, slippery elm, yarrow, marshmallow root, and ginger. The herb for the liver, blessed thistle, dandelion, yellow dog, and red clover. The herb for the pancreas, bitter melon, prodigiosa, wereke, Gymnema sylvester. The herb for the small intestine, Celebrium, cayenne, marshmallow, and licorice roots. The herb for the colon, Cascara sagrada, senna, turkey rhubarb, and mandrake. The herb for the bone and the skeleton system, comfrey, white oak bark, stinging nettle, horsetail, and bamboo. 18, we have the herb for the hormonal system, our endocrinal system. We have merlin, lobelia, blue cohosh, and chaga. The herb for the reproductive system. For male as for women, it depends on the case. Here is much more about the man. Have a yohembe, sarsaparilla, sarsaparilla good for women also, chaga for women also, and damiana much more for men. We have your immune system, have elderberry, chaparral, pokeroot, dandelion. And then we have the herb for the kidney, stonebreaker, hydrangea root, blarara, stinging nettle, seed. Especially stinging nettle seed is very, very good for the kidney problems. So what are we doing here? The list is not exhausted. Okay? We are just giving you a simple way to learn herb. What's that simple way? From the head to toe, just learn 4 herb per body part and understand how to mix them, how to use them. Guess what? You will understand the herb very much well because you have so much herb. I mean, a whole lot of herb. There's no way you're going to know everything by heart. Just all you need to know is what to use for your whole system and for specific body part for any reason or any problem. Okay, so this is my suggestion. Now, let's look at the way you formulate herbal formula. How do you do it? We're going to take a few examples. We're going to use the example of colon cleanse. How do you make a colon cleanse formula, for example? Right here. Before we get here, I would like to mention that we do not encourage medicating herbs. In other words, what do you have? You're constipated? Okay, just take Cascara Sagrada and Senna, you will be fine. We do not encourage that. Why? Because it's the same mentality as medicating the pharmaceutical medicines. We do not ask the person, what are you doing? How do you get constipated? What is your diet? How do you eat? None of that. We just recommend a herb. So we encourage any use to lead first to obedience and obedience only. So for that reason, we says good hydration, food rich in fiber, digestive work, enzyme-rich food, and much more is highly recommended in addition to the use of the following formula. So that means we do not recommend that you medicate herb at all. The use of the herb should be assisting the whole process of obedience, going back to the way God designed your colon to work by. The way God designed your body to be able to process the waste out of your body. So we do not encourage the medication of herb. We encourage to look at a herb as divine provision to assist us and help us to obey all the laws of health so that we can have a full restoration back to health. So formula number 1, I put something there. I said, notice, educate yourself on mucoid plaque, the most dangerous case of constipation. That's very important. A lot of people have something, it's almost like a rubber. It's from the mucus. It becomes so hardened, have no smell really. and that's lying along the wall of your colon. It can stay there for years, decades. You can have in your system for 20, 30, 40 years, but it's going to hurt you very badly. And a simple colon cleanser will not remove it. You need a special fast so that it will lose and then come out of your system very easily. You're going to need somebody who knows how to do it. It's extreme cases, actually. Now let's look at the formula number 1. So we take 1 teaspoon of cascara sagrada, a half of a teaspoon of senna, half of teaspoon of prodigiosa, and a quarter of cayenne, and 1/8 of ginger. Now, why do we take this kind of proportion? Because we study the herb first. We understand the effect, how the herb functions in your body, how God designed the herb to work in your body. For example, cascara sagrada. There was an experimentation where they kill an animal and they quickly remove the colon and they inject cascara sagrada tea into the colon of that dead animal. And guess what? The colon out of the body of the animal, the colon started moving. And that's how they discover that cascara sagrada works directly on the nerve of the colon. Now, when you use senna, do the same thing, the colon nerve will not move at all. But senna functions differently. The senna will lose the muscle of the colon. And by doing so, also create an osmosis effect, bringing more fluid into the colon. Prodigiosa have a specific role. It's designed to dissolve the mucus build in your colon. A lot of us, sometimes we go to the bathroom and we pass mucus. Sometimes you might have excessive mucus build in your system and it creates a constant constipation. You gotta dissolve that thing out of your system and stop eating mucus-forming food. Cayenne and ginger are to tonify the colon. Now, in this formula, if you use equal part of senna and cascara, you're going to have stomach ache very badly. One more time. If you use equal part, like for example, in this case, we take 1 teaspoon of cascara and 1 teaspoon of senna. When you take that formula, you're going to have a severe stomach ache. Why? You should not use senna in high dose like that, because senna is a very cathartic herb and it loses the muscle of the colon. So you have, when you are making a formula, you need to know the herb, how the herb function and how they work on the organ, and that design and guide the way you should put the formula together. Putting formula together requires a lot of understanding. You got to have at least the basics in herbology to make formulas. And by God's grace, we offer that in the training we're going to have next month, where you are going to learn how to make herbal formula for every body part from the head to toe. Now, you make the formula, how to take this. We give you 2 options. Remember, this formula number 1 is just a laxative, help you go to the bathroom. But we want to cleanse the whole colon, right? So you need fiber to operate like a broom to sweep the wall of your colon. So if you want to have a complete colon cleanse, you need to add a fiber to the laxative. Everybody get that? To make a complete colon cleanse, you need to add a fiber to the laxative. Then it becomes a complete colon cleanse. So in this case, we offer you 2 options. Option number 1, mix everything properly and put it in a veggie capsule, okay? And take 3 or 4 or more capsules depending on the severity of the constipation. And then 50 minutes later, take a 3 tablespoons of colon detox formula. Formula number 8, we're going to look at it in a few minutes. for much fiber to allow the wall of the colon to be properly cleansed. You need that fiber not only to sweep the colon, but also to bring some kind of soothing, okay, the lining of your colon. It's very necessary. Now, in option number 2, you add the fiber directly to the laxative formula number 1. It can be psyllium husk, it can be slippery elm, it can be whatever you want. Personally, I prefer option number 1. Why? In the colon detox, we have things to detox heavy metal from your system. Because the same cascara and the senna and the producer you see right there work on the liver also. So while you want to cleanse the colon, guess what? The liver will also release a lot of toxin. Okay, a lot of toxin will be dumped into your duodenum. Now you need something to bind this toxin. Otherwise, when it gets into the small intestine, it will be reabsorbed back into your bloodstream and that becomes very toxic. And that is the mistake a lot of people make when they are doing a cleanse. They just take something that's cleansing them, but nothing to detox them. If you are cleansing, you are not detoxing at the same time, you are going to reabsorb your toxin. It's going to make you very sick. You're going to be vomiting. You're going to feel a headache, a lot of stuff. So personally, I recommend option number 1. You take your laxative, you wait for 15 minutes. The most will be 20, 30 minutes. And then take formula number, take your colon and whole body detox, this one. Number 8. So take 2 parts of slippery elm, 2 parts of psyllium husk and seed, 1 part of activated charcoal, half part of bentonite clay, bentonite clay powder, half part of fennel seed powder, a quarter part of marshmallow root powder, and then a quarter of shilajit. Shilajit will bring a lot of 20% of a fulvic mineral that you need. The bentonite clay bringing so much minerals. The charcoal will help with the bentonite clay to bind toxins. So this is a very much not just about fiber. The slippery elm and the psyllium husk provide a lot of fiber. But the activated charcoal, the bentonite clay, and others, even shilajit, provide what you really need to detox heavy metals. So for that reason, I prefer formula, the first option, which is take the laxative and wait for 15 to 30 minutes and take the detox. So how do you take the detox formula? You mix everything together. So let's say 1 part, follow carefully because people are going to ask this question. 1 part equal 1 tablespoon of para herb, so equivalent to loose herb. So you are going to take 1 or 2 tablespoons. I mean, you would, all of this mixture right here, you mix everything. 1 part mean equal 1 tablespoon. So 2 parts of slippery herb mean 2 tablespoons. So you replace the part by tablespoon. You mix everything together. You have a colon. You have the whole body and colon detox formula. So how do you take it? Take 1 to 2 tablespoons, depending how big is the person, into 8 ounces of water. Shake it very well. We recommend much more distilled water in this case, if it's possible, or well water. Shake it very well, then drink it down 15 minutes after having taken your colon laxative. The charcoal and bentonite clay will really, really help you to detox. Now, if you increase the amount of bentonite clay and charcoal, you can have too much constipation. You don't want to go there. So you got to follow exactly the design, the way it is. Formula number 9 is much, much better. We have 3 parts of psyllium seed. The psyllium, it is much more from the plantain. And the plantain is one of the best ways to detox heavy metal, heavy poisons. We have 1 part of diatomaceous earth that bring a natural silica. Of the bugleweed leaves, one of the best thing for poison. Same thing for plantain leaves, activated charcoal, and bentonite clay. But in this formula, there's something very particular called humic acid. Humic acid is capable of detoxing even the Agent Orange, one of the most toxic things many army use in the chemical weapon used in war. American army have used that in some countries. I think it was Vietnam or Cuba, somewhere around, where they decimate a lot of land by spraying the Agent Orange. A generation later on, people still suffer from that. The soil was contaminated. They used anything to help people, but it was not working until somebody recommended humic. And humic was effective, removing the Agent Orange from the people's bloodstream. It's a very powerful detoxifier. Actually, when somebody has taken maybe some heavy treatment like chemo, and later on they want to detox that from their body, it's one of the best things you can use. Okay? So you make the formula and you take it the same way as you did formula number 8. So what is the whole point so far? We are just introducing you to how you can make formula. And we are going to share with you the principle you should follow while you are making any formula. When you want to make formula, you are going to follow at least 5 elements. Number 1, let me see if I can share it with you in a minute. Right here. All right, so I was saying we are going to share with you the principle, okay, of making herbal formula. The first one is any formula you are making, you must consider the cleansing effect, the detoxification, how it will nourish the organ, and how it will regenerate. You need to pay attention to this specific thing. Then, while you are putting the formula together, number 1, will what you are making bioavailable? That means, will the herb reach the organ? Very important. Next one is the synergetic action of other cofactors, the herb environments. For example, if you are taking herbal formula for bones and you are deficient in vitamin D and then also in iodine, because the iodine works with your thyroid to help to fix calcium in your bones and have a healthy bones. Because the calcitonin effect from the iodine, from the thyroid organ. Now, vitamin D3 allow what? The assimilation and the use of calcium in the body. So there is a synergistic action between the herb you are using for bones, like comfrey, white oak bark, stinging nettle, horsetail, all the herb you are using for the bones. While you are making this formula, you are going to take into consideration that I have to also take enough sunlight to have vitamin D3. I have to make sure I eat a healthy fat so that the good fat under the skin will allow your skin to be able to synthesize vitamin D3 after you take the sunlight. And next to that is, while you take the sunlight, maybe for 30 minutes, do not run to take any shower for at least 2 hours. A lot of people make the mistake. They go to the beach, they expose themselves for good time, maybe 30 minutes or an hour. Then they run into the water. Sorry, you interrupt the synthesis of the D3. It's not correct. You have to wait for at least 2 hours before you take any shower. Very, very important. So you are helping someone have a bone issue. You make a bone formula, put a proper amount of comfrey root, white oak bark, stinging nettle, horsetail, even possible bamboo. You make a great formula. And the person is deficient in vitamin D3, and the person have a thyroid problem. The formula is going to work a little bit. But to reach its full potential, guess what? It's better to make sure you have a healthy thyroid and you have a good level of vitamin D3. So it's called synergistic action, okay? The herb with the vitamin that's needed. Next one is iron. Any formula you are making, make sure iron level is very high enough. Why? Just observe life. Our first nutrient is oxygen. You can stay whole day without drinking or without eating. You can't last without breathing. And when you breathe oxygen, how the oxygen get into your blood is by the hemoglobin. So the oxygen get in your lungs and then through your bronchi tube at the level of your alveoli, why do you have the exchange of gas? So you bring oxygen in and then you're going to exhale, the carbon dioxide. Now, who will capture, or which the organs are responsible to capture the oxygen? Right there you have the blood, and inside the blood, the red blood cells. And inside the red blood cell, you have the hemoglobin, and in hemoglobin, inside the hemoglobin, you have the iron. The iron will fix the oxygen and take it to all the body parts. So if you are low in oxygen, you are low in iron, guess what? You can breathe all the air of in your whole universe. It will not be enough for you. Because without iron, the body cannot carry oxygen. It is true that the magnesium help a little bit also. The magnesium and iron work together in the transport of oxygen. So what we are saying is, if you are not considering the iron concentration in your herbal formula, you are going to miss out. Number 4, the anatomy and physiology of the sick organ. So when we was making the colon cleanse or laxative, we understand the anatomy and physiology of the colon. We know the way God has shaped the colon, that it had to, move the waste by the peristaltic movement. So you need a nerve to be working to move your colon properly. We also know that the colon needs to lose up to let the weight pass. And that guides us in the way we're going to make the formula. So we need a specific herb that will work on the nerve of the colon so the colon can be able to move the weight by itself. And then we also know that the colon needs to lose up so that it can empty the waste. So we need a very cathartic herb like senna that can lose the muscle of the colon. So the understanding of anatomy and physiology of the colon will guide in the way we are making the formula, and the amount of herb or the measurement or the portion we are putting for each herb. And then number 5, the most important part, is the dosage. Here, I will suggest that you pay a little attention, please. The recommendation in the books will not help you. They recommend in the book to use teaspoon or tablespoon for many herbs. I'm sorry to let you know, in a many condition, you follow this direction, you will never have a result. If you have a man that is 300 pounds or 200 pounds, and you make a herbal formula with a teaspoon of this and that, it's going to be almost nothing in his body. You are going to consider the age, the weight, the gender, all of this. And thank God, most of the herb, 99% of the herb are food. 99% of herb are food. So as safe as the herb, as concentrated you can make them. You just need to administer the herb safely. That means do it progressively. So if someone is having some kind of problem and you make a herbal formula, make a herbal tea with a small dose, you are not going to have a result and you will say the herb does not work. The herb works if you know how to use them, if you know how to concentrate them. So there's a necessity to understand how herb works. Now, those of you that would like to go deeper in herbology, then you're going to go into the herbal chemistry. And they're going to help you in the way you do things. Now, what should we keep in mind from this evening? We are in the end time. Since 2015, the Pope came with a global agenda, Laudato Si. And deep in that, we have what they call the Green Sabbath, or have one day for the earth to rest. And the day they are suggesting is Sunday. And all Adventists understand to some extent what that really means. In other words, very soon, we might not be able to buy or sell. And God has foreseen all of this. He made a provision that the herb, all of everything growing in nature, will be helpful. If possible, grow as much food as you can, be sufficient. But beyond all of this, may we see that there's a food around us in abundance. We just do not maintain them right. If you take Jerusalem artichoke, it's a great root. It's like potato, but it's much richer than potato. Jerusalem artichoke will actually control your blood sugar. It's that much effective. It grows wild. We can grow wild rice, wild grain, we can grow wild beans. We have a whole class on how to live only on wild food. For those that will be taking the training next month, we're going to have a whole presentation on how can you live 100% on wild food. So what is the idea? We want us to see that God has made a provision. We just need to obey. And it's going to be okay. If you're living in the countryside, even better. Learn all the herb around you. Use the herb to make herbal soap. Use the herb to make herbal lotion. Use the herb for food. Use the herb for medicine. Use the herb for business. Use the herb to serve your fellow human being. Use the herb to make herbal charcoal. There are so much things you can do with herbs. Very much. If you just know how to use what is around. Now we are coming closer to the winter. I would like to share this with you. So just to remember me, right? I'm going to do this one in remembrance of me. The herbal formula for the respiratory system. The winter will be there soon, maybe in the next 2 months. This is my suggestion, formula 73 and formula 74. 73, you make herbal tea from that. But when you make it, do not put the camu in it because it will be destroyed by the heat. Vitamin C does not survive heat. It disappears right away when you heat it up. So you make a tea using elderberry, prodigiosa, cayenne, sapo, a little bit of sea moss in it, and a poke root. When the tea is ready and you're going to drink it, you can add a little bit of vitamin C to it. It becomes very powerful. Why? The vitamin C will make the iron from the sea moss bioavailable. Get it? Now, the next one, you are going to make a tonic. You will take 24 ounces of lemon juice, 24 ounces of ginger juice, 2 cups of garlic, freshly peeled, 4 ounces of horseradish, 1 ounce of poke root powder, 1 ounce of oregano oil, P73, super strength only, 1 ounce of eucalyptus oil, and a 1/4 cup of menthol crystal, and then a 1/4 ounce of castle cayenne pepper tincture. We do not recommend alcohol in making your tincture, especially in this case. You will use instead 1/3 of DMSO. The DMSO, please use only what is called pharmaceutical DMSO. It's different from the industrial DMSO. The industrial DMSO is toxic to your body, but the pharmaceutical DMSO is extremely healing to you. It's good. So you take a 1/3 of DMSO, 1/3 of vegetable glycerin, and 1/3 of distilled water. And you will make a tincture from that, cayenne tincture from. And now you can use that tincture, to add it to your tonic. This tonic, if you do very well, it can stay in your fridge for a good 3 months. Anybody coughing really bad, give him 1 ounce of this every hour. I promise you will see something turn around. This formula right here help a lot of people with COVID. I say help. We don't claim to cure anyone. Okay? It did help people tremendously. Okay? So we're saying take 1 ounce 3 times a day for regular flu or cough. They take 1 ounce every hour, okay, throughout the day for severe cases. You see, it's very good to help somebody with asthma problem. It's great for any regular flu or cough, whatever is going on. So I recommend you can do this a little bit before winter and sometime during winter and then at the end of the winter. You will spend a good winter without too much problem. Like we said, we don't recommend you to medicate none of this stuff. So you're going to use it in harmony with the obedience to all the laws of health. One more time, we do not recommend any of the formula to be used as a medication. These are to accompany, okay, to assist you in the obedience of all the laws of health. So while you make this tea and this tonic, you exercise properly, you drink properly, you take sunlight, you rest properly, you trust God to obey all the 10 laws of health. Okay? And then the herb will only assist in that obedience to get you well. For the winter time, from now you can start taking more of a healthy oil, healthy fat like coconut oil. Help you build a good insulation under your skin. Very important. And also take something concentrated in ions, because ions are very electrical. You need all the mineral actually. If your mineral level is very high, you have a good insulation under your skin, I promise you, you're going to feel very little cold, very little. If you are elderly, you feel too much cold, then rub your hand and your feet every evening and every morning with a cayenne tincture. It will keep you right. If it's severe cold, also drink charcoal only. Okay, drink charcoal, put a tablespoon of charcoal in water and drink it. And rub your feet and your hand with cayenne tincture. You will see your cold disappear. It does work that way. So I'm going to stop in a few minutes so that we can have some questions. My recommendation tonight or this evening is to look at the herb as God provision. Anytime you see any herb, remember creation right away. The day God called this herb to existence. And let your mind get so deep into it until you are full of thanksgiving and admiration to the Creator. If possible, even render and obedience and worship to God. Number 2, when you see the herb, may you see that you are touching the very mystery of creation. And when you look at the herb again, I suggest you see this thing, that if anyone pray, like the case of Prophet Isaiah, the Isaiah 38, verse 21, he recommend the fig to be used as a plaster, plaster upon the boil, and it will disappear. How the fig is able to do that? Because God put that power in the fig. It's God who work through the fig and with the fig. So if Isaiah has prayed, lay his hand and pray on the king to get well, and he get well, is the same power of God. The use of the God-created herb is supplying divine power to heal you, as if you have just prayed to heal the sick. Is the same power. It's the same provision. It's the same love of God. So this helps us to know how to approach the herbs. Why this is so important? We do not want to use herb to be healthy sinners. You use the herb, you get healthy, but you remain sinner. We don't want to be like that. We want to be God's children using our Father's provision, and then lead us in thanksgiving and admiration and worship. So the use of herb is different. Our perception must completely be different. And this will bring us to be very thankful if we allow that to happen. So may the Lord bless us and keep us. I encourage everyone, nowadays knowledge is available. All you need is understanding. We might provide some of that during the training. But the information about the herb is right there in your phone. It's on any kind of website, on YouTube, everywhere. Start learning. Just 4 herbs per body part, from the head to the toe. And you will really discover the mystery and the understanding of the mystery of God's creation in creating the herb and the plants for us. May the Lord bless you and keep you. That beyond all of this, we don't just see herb, but we see divine provision. We provide a herb for food, the same herb for medicine, the same herb can be used to serve others, can be used for business. In the training, we encourage people to open a business. Have your herbal business where you make all the product made from herb. And on the label, you can put amazing facts or any website where people can go and learn about the gospel. So you are using the herb to do business, but at the same time, you're leading people to God. So we want the student to be very productive, to use the information, not just for themselves, but to bless many other people with it. And the next one is, if you are having emotional problem, you're having a marriage problem, you are so stressed and that getting you sick, there's no herbal formula that can fix that. None. If you're in a very dysfunctional marriage life, very hectic, stressful marriage life, there's no herbal tea, no plant-based that can fix that. But if you develop a loving, covenantal relationship with Christ for the marriage of the Lamb, according to Revelation 19, verse 7 to 9, slowly you're going to start healing emotionally, physically, mentally. At the same time, you are using also the nerve like valerian, hops, skull cups, lemon balm. The herb are helping you to soothe the nerve. But the trust and obedience to God will start healing you physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Then we are talking about true healing. That's the reason why we do not recommend medicating the herb. We want you to see the herb as God's provision to assist you as long as you choose to obey all the laws of God and have a full restoration. So meditating on the love of God, spend your day in thanksgiving. Recall all the blessing of God in your life. It's a very healing to your body. So while you are taking your nervine, you're taking any herb, any herbal tea, changing your diet, feed your soul with thanksgiving, with gratitude, with praise and worship. Set your affection on heavenly things. Colossians chapter 3, verse 2 says what? Set your affection on heavenly things. And then when we look at the book of Luke, Luke chapter 10, verse 20, Christ says what? Rejoice because your name are written in the book of life. When you rejoice, what happened to your hormone? Your oxytocin level got very high. Your serotonin level get very high. Guess what? You are healing just by obeying what God says. So we should not look at the herb as the way of healing, but the herb just assists you. Talk about the way God's children must study herbology is different from the way the world is studying that. And the way we apply it must be different. And may the Lord guide us that from today, when you see herb, you will remember creation. When you see herb, you see God's provision. When you see herb, you see God's power. The same power that can heal, the same power working through the herb to heal you. And beyond all of this, it will only assist you together with obedience to all the laws of health. And that's how we can heal mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. May the Lord bless us and keep us, that we don't look at the herb as the same anymore. When you are driving to work from today, you see all the herb, all the tree, you must remember creation. You must see God's infinite provision is abundant all over the place. They have wild animals. They don't work. They have food all the time. Why? God provide for them. Why are we suffering? We went and established our own righteousness. That's why we are suffering. God has made so much provision if we have followed divine order. All right. May God bless all of you. And we're going to open up for question and answers.